All right, guys. So the market is still chopping about here. I want to talk about the when price breaks down below the red 200, below all moving averages, and we have a sharp drop. From that sharp drop, when price moves up higher, where it hits the 100 white 100 moving average before it hits the red 200 moving average, there's a good distinction in this. There's a difference. Okay, so we want to see what actually happened. This is the total market cap, by the way. What actually happened after this happened in past circumstances. Now, okay, yeah. So I just want to see what happened in the past. Now I have marked out every single time in the total market cap's history. You can see before the bull run, this did not happen. Okay, we came up and there was a necktie. Basically, it wasn't the white 100 moving average first. It was a different structure. Um, Now here, at the very bottom of the financial crisis, the coronavirus crisis, sorry, um, price did come up, and you can see we put in this drop, and actually price came up and pierced it, and then we actually got above. And what's important here, um, we did touch it. There was a bit of a pullback, but we got above. And from when we got above, the white 100 moving average held. If you bought at the white 100 moving average retest, that was a good time to buy for accumulation. And this isn't total market cap. So if we're buying this, Bitcoin should move up, and all coins should move up, and everything should move up from this exact point. Okay. I don't want to make that too messy. Again, here's another one. Couple of instances here. What actually and what happened afterwards? Actually, it was still very choppy, but this instance was an uptrend. Okay, we moved into an apex here, so there was time to play an apex in here and play the breakout of the apex. So there was good opportunity to actually get into some very good trades. You didn't have to FOMO in before the market still give good opportunity. Okay, let's move on. Now, this one here as well, we had a crash below all moving averages. Now, this is kind of different because this was already in a downtrend. Price was breaking down, fake out, break down, break up, failure, roll over. So this instance is slightly different. It was already in a bear market, but we'll talk about it anyway. What happened? Well, price came up and hit the 100, the white 100 first. We still consolidated in there, had the fake out below and had a push. Okay, but even if you were buying here before the white 100, there was still a lot of chop to go. Same here. You had this drop right here, price bounced up, and there was still a lot of chop from this point. The market chopped for a long period of time. Okay, because I'll just go back and just show you, just as one quick reference, we are only hitting the white 100 moving average right now. I can't delete all these, so I've got other stuff on the chart. So you can see we're just dropped and touching it for the first time. So I just wanted to give that reference. Okay, let's keep going. Anyway, this is the $3,000 crash on Bitcoin when we were at the lows back in 2018 on the big crash. So, well, we can see it was kind of a different structure. Definitely the fall on this back then was definitely different. But when we hit the white 100 first, before that, there was still a long period of consolidation and chop before we could turn bullish again. So in theory, you didn't need to FOMO right here. Okay, so if I move here, this was in the bearish downtrend. Okay, so there was a few times in the bearish downtrend where price topped out here and we dropped below all moving averages. And the first test of the white 100 moving average, we actually consolidated in here. Let me zoom in. We consolidated in the apex, so to speak, and we broke down out of the apex. We had a failure. As soon as we broke down below the white 100, the second time you needed to get short, you needed to be careful. Okay, you need to stay above that white 100. Again, here, well, the first time we touched it, there was still a lot of chop, and we did move up into this sort of area. Again, this was already in a period of a bear market and a downtrend, but the first touches, they possibly were buys because price moved up in the apex, up and through to the top of the white 100 moving average, and that's a decent move, I suppose. 13% move in Bitcoin, you get a 30% move in altcoins or whatever. Same here. When price came down, we popped back up. Okay, but eventually price rolled over again. In a bear market, price rolled over, of course. We done that one. Now this one's interesting. So price dumped from the $20,000 mark on Bitcoin. This is the total market cap, but we dumped it below all moving averages, and the first bounce really back up was actually into the white 100 moving average, and that was actually a sell-off point. So we sold off from there, and then the second time we got up into that area, which would be more of a position we would be in right now. There was that push up through again, and the top again was just slightly above the red 200 before rolling over. Now, if you look back here in the bearish territory, in the bearish market and bearish conditions, price either gets into the apex or it gets slightly above. You can see here again, we got slightly above, right? And we got slightly above here as well. So bearish, when you're bearish, this could be a buy, but price can likely reject either in the apex or just above the red 200 moving average. Okay, let's keep going. I've got a few more here. These are every single time the white 100 moving average was touched first after a crash. Okay, after a sharp drop. So there's only a couple more to go. You can see this one, obviously we had a huge crash, drop right through, but we moved back up. Slightly different situation here, this long wick. But price, first time it touched it, we still went into a massive period of consolidation. If we go into a massive period of consolidation, well, we can look to buy that apex or look to buy the breakout of the apex. And you can see what happened after that. So even if you don't FOMO right here, where we are right now in this current price action, there is time to buy it later. You don't have to freak out because you're missing everything. If it's going to be bullish, it's going to give you opportunity to get on board. So no need to FOMO. We need to see if this is going to reject off it, or are we going to actually turn bullish out of the consolidation of what we're on. That's different because we're still above moving averages. You can see here, I've got this one marked right here. We had a substantial drop. What is this drop? It must be 37%. Okay, 37%. Now, we bounced back up, and what happened? Well, we did actually get back inside the white 100, and we popped back up. But even if we pop back up, the market still came back down and chopped about for a long period of time. And if we were going to be truly bullish, the market still give you a lot of time to get on board. The market proved to us that it was going to be bullish. We chopped, we consolidated in the apex, and eventually got above the apex before rounding, essentially rounding back up. Okay, there was a spike. You take away that spike, it's a rounding bottom, and the pattern showed us we were going to move back up. So again, you didn't need to FOMO. You didn't need to FOMO. Yes, you missed this first little move, but then the market will give you opportunity. No need to panic. Okay, this is might be the second last one. So we had this big drop here, and the first touch on the white 100 moving average, we still had opportunity, right? If you didn't buy this first touch, it moved up. We actually came back down, give you opportunity to even buy lower, and then we still had a lot of chop, right? And even then, it took all this time for the market to prove it's bullish, right? Because it was failing to break down, and then you broke above all moving averages right here. You could have saved yourself a whole lot of stress and I was going to say panic, but what's the right word? Headache, by just having patience and buy here safely, okay? And then you catch the move. Again, this is the last one, I think. We had this huge drop, right? We had this bear market, or let's zoom out and have a look. God, there's actually a couple more here. There's a few more, but anyway, you can see even after the touch, even after this first touch, right? Price did have that first bounce, and people were panicking, but all these people got caught out and the price dumped right back down. Now that's probably a big dump on the total market cap. That's a 30% dump. That's enough to wipe out altcoins massively. Um, you know, but again, price came back down, it consolidated, it moved into the apex, and we moved out of that. We started moving out of that. So yes, buying here would have been good. In this instance, actually, there was a quite a big spike, and you could have caught some of that move. So that's interesting. If you want to buy here, definitely could catch a bit of a move. But again, you didn't need to FOMO because there was more opportunity. Where are we now? This was longer than I thought. Now, I don't know why I marked these. This one I marked, but okay. Well, you can see now we had this move up. We came down, we consolidated. This is not one. That's not an example, and even this is not a real example. It's not a crash, but we did drop or crash. Could call it a bit of a crash. Let's see that actually. I might be getting swayed by the old chart. It's a 30% drop. Okay, it's nice. It's a big drop. So the first touch up you can see again in a bearish market. If you're not breaking inside that inside the white 100 moving average, you need to be careful, right? And then if you start consolidating under it without gaining strength, you need to be careful. It could roll over. Again, here, it didn't chop about much. It just pierced right through it. But again, the market came back, consolidated, and gave time for an entry before the real move. So every single time I think there that the market actually did give time, then you did not have to FOMO right here. So usually, sometimes there was a spike and we came back down, and then there could be a lot of chop as these kind of consolidate or whatever, and then maybe you get the real move. There was not very many times at all where this was the real place you need to FOMO into. This was sometimes there was a couple of spikes that we did get from this position, but every single one of them rolled over again. Every single one of them, well, at least from my memory. You just watched the video as well. Maybe my memory's not so good because I was talking so much, but yeah. So you can take what you want from this video, but it mostly shows to me that yes, there might be some opportunity here, but the market will always give other good opportunities. Either if we come in and form this apex, you can buy in here in the apex or buy in the apex. There was still a lot of opportunity. It also showed that failure to gain in here and maybe consolidate underneath was bearish, will fall down. The other option is if we consolidate in here, for example, say if we consolidate in here and you break out of this is bearish and may roll over. So that was every single time we looked at in the history of the total market cap. So it'll give us clues of what to look for in the future.